What's the best part when it comes to a video game? Is it the graphics, the story, the gameplay, the fighting mechanics? No, all of those are wrong. Who cares about any of that? The best part of any game is achievements. Now, I love achievements. My brain goes crazy when I hear Steam achievement noise. There's something I just love about it. If that noise doesn't do something to you, then there might be something wrong. Because I love the Steam achievement noise so much, I've completed the whole Dark Souls trilogy, Elden Ring, Sekiro, Liza P, Cuphead, and Learn to Fly 3. But maybe that's just because I like Souls games. Okay, before I get started, let me go over some of the changes that I've made over the last few weeks. I didn't realize how bad my map looked. It looks very much so out of place, so I redid the whole thing. This is what it looks like now. It looks a lot more stylized to what a map might actually look like. It also has a pop-up and unfold animation just like the journal. The second update is that the map lines will only show up when the next world is available. Finally, the map now shows where you are instead of there just being a red X. Anyways, one of the games that has great achievements is Cookie Clicker. This game has hundreds of beautiful achievements. Ooh, golden cookie. Cookie Clicker has a well-rounded selection. Some are difficult that requires a lot of player time, some require a lot of idle time, and others are just up to chance. Each achievement also rewards the player when completing it. In most games, achievements are just for show, something that sits in your Steam showcase that doesn't give any benefit to the player during gameplay. Cookie Clicker gives the player buffs when the player unlocks achievements. Each achievement rewards the player a 4% milk buff to the total output of cookies. This means that if all 622 achievements are unlocked, then the player is rewarded with a 2.5% increase. Which is a little crazy to think about. Imagine dumping a single cookie into hazelnut milk and it just magically making 2,500 cookies. That would be a little scary. I love how Cookie Clicker does his achievements, until this one slight problem that definitely doesn't bother me at all. It's called shadow achievements. If you don't know what shadow achievements are, they are really hard or hidden achievements. These achievements don't count towards your milk buff. In my opinion, these are, excuse my language, stupid rewards when completing really hard challenges. It's stupid that I have to put in all this time and energy to unlock this very difficult challenge to get what? Nothing? Just a little badge that looks slightly different from the rest? Sorry, I lost my temper a little bit. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, right. I hate this feature. Why would the... Okay, let me put it this way. Imagine you're in a classroom and you answer the easiest question imaginable and you get $100 for it. Then the teacher is like, okay, now it's time for the test. The test isn't even close to what you've been studying for, but you try your best. You get back the test and somehow barely pass, but instead of even getting a grade, the teacher comes over and gives you a high five. Like, how does that make any sense at all? That isn't even fair. Makes me so mad! So I came up with a list of requirements that I want for my achievements to have. Bring back out the chalkboard! Firstly, it needs to have hundreds of achievements. All achievements give buffs to the player. The achievement should have a good combination of player time, idle time, and some random chance achievements. Achievements shouldn't be equally weighted, which I'll explain more in a second. No missable achievements that the player would have to start a new save for. And finally, the player shouldn't unlock an achievement for everything they do. The achievement should be worked for, not just given to the player. Oh, and make sure that there's a 100% game completion achievement. That's important. Okay, with this in mind, let me show you what I've got so far. So I said that I wanted a lot of achievements, but the player would need a way to see them somewhere. It would be pretty unlucky to have to remember which ones you've unlocked and also how many more achievements you need to complete the game. So I've made a stat screen. At the top of the grid, there's a text that displays how many achievements the player has completed and the percent completed. This menu also acts as the stats page, so I have also added a timer to show the player how long it's been since they started playing, which is just based on when the save file was created, and what the player has equipped. Oh no, sorry, not what the save file goes off of, but what's also in the stats menu. I think I worded that weird. Anyways, this section will show what fishing rod, bait, and pet is currently equipped to the character. And probably some more, but I don't know what's gonna go over here yet. Okay, back to the achievements. When hovering over the unlocked achievements, it will have a nice little hover animation along with a little window that pops up to show the achievement's name, description, and the buff you get from it. For the buffs, I wanted a system where each achievement would give the player something different. it didn't make sense for there to be an overall upgrade that the player would get when unlocking an achievement. For example, when the player gets an achievement for catching a certain amount of fish, the buff should make it easier to catch more fish instead of upgrading something like the sell price of the fish. Or if the player gets an achievement for buying a certain amount of auto fishers, the auto fishers should become cheaper to upgrade. Right now, the achievements are hidden before they're unlocked. I was wondering if it would be better to show the requirements in the given boss while the achievements are still locked, so the player could actually target specific upgrades if they'd like. Or should I just keep them locked and let the player decide if they want to look up the achievements on Steam? Since each achievement has its own buff, it would also mean that it would be pretty easy to implement a weighted system to buffs. What do I mean by weighted? Well, achievements that are harder to get should reward the player with more. I find it unfair that the player would need to put in 10 times the amount of work for some achievement just to still get a static 4% increase in output. So collecting your first fish might only give you a 1% increase to the fish price, while catching your millionth fish will reward the player with a 10% increase. This feels a lot more fair to the amount of time that the player would put into getting the achievement. Just like how there's an attractive noise when unlocking an achievement, there should also be an attractive animation to notify the player when they have unlocked the achievement. I noticed that Cookie Clicker doesn't really do this well. They just have a little box that pops up at the bottom and it kind of just stays there until the player clicks it away. So I came up with this banner. It pops up when the achievement is unlocked and displays the achievement icon, along with its name. It will stay on the screen for a few seconds and then go away. Just like all the other topics I've gone over so far, this one also has a data table. This one's pretty simple. It contains an ID, name, and description of the achievement. Once the data is parsed, I have an achievement class that I pass in the ID and the conditions. Then, scattered throughout the code, I have specific checks to see if the player has unlocked the achievement. An example of this would be if the player catches a fish. The program will then test all the catching fish achievements to see if any of the requirements are now met. But we also need to add something here to make sure the player hasn't already completed the achievement, so the player isn't able to get the same achievement multiple times. Then, if the conditions are met, the function will be called. The function will then add the banner to the screen and update the achievement data inside the save file. The buffs work pretty similarly. I have code scattered throughout the program that tests the buffs of certain things. When the player catches a fish and the fish UI is updated, the program will calculate how much the fish should sell for. The function contains a lot of information that has calculations done on it. It contains information about the upgrades, pet buffs, golden fish buffs, and achievement buffs. Once all the information is put together, it is then multiplied by the original sell price of the fish. To load all the images of the achievement on startup, the images are loaded up from the ID of the achievement. I have a folder with a bunch of 24x24 images named 0.png to 500png. Well, that's all I got for achievements. I gotta go. I'm gonna go spam the achievement noise. Before I do, make sure to watch this video. And if you've seen it already, well, watch it again. Okay, I'm gonna go in my corner now.